I find myself looking over my gaming experiences over the last while and reflecting on how they have evolved. You know, I played games when I was a kid, and then I didn't really play them at all for quite a few years. And then I got back into it somewhere in the neighborhood of 2020. And that took the form of dusting off a laptop that I'd gotten primarily for work, but it was a gaming laptop of sorts, and it was good enough that I could play City Skylines on it. So I did. And, I kind of went through a lot of different games over the next 4 or 5 years. And a lot has changed in my life during that time, too. My perspectives on life have changed. My place in life has changed. And I think at the core of who I am, I've adopted a lot more of a Taoist, Stoic sort of approach to life. This premise that life should be lived for the moment. It should be lived today. We shouldn't always be chasing something that we think is going to, I guess, serve us better in the future. Because that leads to a situation where we're always chasing something and we're never really satisfied. And then going back to gaming, I realize I've thought a lot about what games are the best ones to play. And I've been distracted a lot by many different titles across a number of different genres. But at the core of it, I've realized I don't care so much about competitive games. I don't really play games that involve matching up and going head-to-head against other people. I don't really have interest in PvP combat and MMOs. Anything that tends to lead to that sense that you aren't good enough, that sense that you're having a good experience, maybe at the expense of another player's experience. Not to say there's anything wrong with those sorts of games. It's just increasingly I feel like I'd rather spend my time doing something that is chill, relaxing, and good enough without needing to be something more. I think about games like Age of Empires. Amazing games. And yet, when you start playing them, you quickly realize that you have to learn the mechanics. You have to work on improving your mastery in some way. And if you want to just sit down and play a competitive RTS for an hour, have a good time, and then move on, well, you're probably not going to have a good time. Because you're not going to be able to master the game unless you play it every day and make it a thing that you take seriously as a committed hobby. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. But I just don't like playing a game where it feels like if you don't practice every day, you're somehow falling behind. You're not going to be able to have a good experience engaging with others in multiplayer. Or where you're playing the same content over and over again, and maybe the AI beats you, and then you have to figure out how you're going to get better. And you're thinking, do I really want to be defeated a few times as I go through the campaign? Or am I just kind of wasting my time? I'm trying to progress through the content, but it feels like it just is a game that doesn't really respect my time. Or I could load into something more passive. These days I find myself maybe once in a while I'll play some American Truck Simulator. This game I'm playing here is Euro Truck Simulator. Maybe a little bit of Flight Simulator. Load into an airplane and fly around somewhere for a little bit. More often than not, I load into an Elder Scrolls game, usually ESO, and just hang out. Probably gathering stuff and selling stuff. Maybe I do a quest. But it's not anything that I feel like I have to do. Usually I just load into the game and then see what direction I feel like going in. And maybe I do some content in the game, or maybe I just don't do anything at all. Maybe I just enjoy the ambience of it. Same thing with pretty much all the games I play. I enjoy the Anno franchise of City Builders. I enjoy Cities Skylines, both of those two games. And having put well over 1,000 hours into both at this point, many times I just load up a save and tinker around with it for a little bit. And I'm not even trying to accomplish anything. I don't have any goals to accomplish. I don't have any milestones I need to reach. It's just about being present in the moment and being present in the game. And in the case of something like this channel, maybe it's an opportunity for me to kind of talk out loud and share a little bit of that experience with other people. And I think that that probably resonates a lot with many folks, because we've seen in MMOs, in RPGs, in life sim games, and so many different genres, those titles where you can just jump in and enjoy the content and not have any firm objectives or goals, where you could play it seriously for hours every day, or you could play it casually for minutes every week, and it doesn't matter. You can play it on your own terms without any deadlines or obligations to go join up with your guild mates or anything like that. It's not about getting through the content, it's about immersing yourself in the world. Those are the kind of experiences which wind up being passively contributors to our lives in a positive way. It's a lot like going out and going for a walk. I love going for a walk around the neighborhood. And the crazy thing about it is most days I will go for a walk somewhere. And I never accomplish anything. I don't go anywhere. Usually I don't go anywhere new. Truth is, I'm more likely to see something I've never seen before in a video game than I am to see something I've never seen before in real life. We tend to usually go the same places over and over again and see the same sights. And yet, it's in those aimless wanderings that we're able to spend time in thought, to reflect on our lives, and to get a better grasp of our place in the world. I was thinking just yesterday about how money is ultimately just paper. It's a number on a ledger, or maybe it's a bill in your pocket. But time is like silver. It's that important commodity that is something we can trade, and it's probably more important than money, because you can get more money, but you can't ever get more time. And yet, time is also maybe not the most important commodity. The most important commodity is thought. Because you can have time, but if you don't spend your time thinking about anything meaningful, coming up with new ideas, then what good is your time? But ideas, generation of fresh thoughts, is something you can only do if you have space in your life. If you're not chasing monetary goals, you're not chasing deadlines, you're just being present. And I think there's a lot of value in low friction activities. It could be a game, it could be light exercise. Not things which push you to your limit and test you in every way, but things that just keep you moving, keep you active, keep you thinking. And so I think life and gaming both benefit from this attitude of letting go of the things which impose obligation on us and embracing things which empower us to reflect on our lives, to reflect on the world around us in an imaginative and open-ended way. Another thing that I was thinking about is how, as time's passed, I get a little bit less interested in games that make me feel alone. You know, a game like No Man's Sky comes to mind. You make a spaceship, you go explore space, and you're probably never going to see anybody. Or Valheim. Valheim's a really cool game. But you're going to make this base, you're going to face enemies. But if you aren't playing with other people on your server, you're never going to see anybody else. There's no other NPCs, there's no other engagements, just you in your own world of one, exploring emptiness. And that can be maybe a pleasant experience in a way, but increasingly I enjoy things that give me a sense that I'm part of something greater, part of a community. Maybe it's games where you can share what you're doing online and other people will see it on the internet. You can, join a subreddit or something. Or maybe it's an MMO where you don't play with people directly all the time, but you're able to still see them in the world and you can interact with them passively here and there. It's nice to find things which don't add obligation into our life, but they add a sense of connection. Not things that create a sense that we are alone. Life is filled with opportunities for us to chase things, and in gaming there's a lot of evidence of that, because there's hundreds, thousands of games that we could play. And yet the reality is, the more I think about it, there's probably half a dozen franchises that I really enjoy, that meet that criteria of being pretty frictionless experiences, enjoyable to play either as a serious hobby or purely casually. Games that fit in well with life, no matter what stage life is in. Games that create a sense of exploration and engage the imagination while giving us an opportunity to in some way connect with a broader community. I think about how these days usually it's probably going to be less than 6 games that I even bother playing. Truck sim, flight sim once in a while, City Skylines, Anno, Elder Scrolls. I play Genshin Impact. That's about it. And that's enough. Now that doesn't mean I can't change it up eventually and play something else down the road. I totally could. I might. But there's that FOMO, that sense of, I need to go download every new game, play all the content. And that's exhausting. It's exhausting because no sooner than you sit down to enjoy a game, you have that nagging feeling in the back of your mind. I should be maybe doing something else. I should be playing that other thing that came out, I've got all these other things on the list to do. It's so much nicer to just wake up and experience gaming the same way you would experience that walk around the neighborhood. I'm just going to go explore today. Maybe it's going to be circling over a city I've never seen before in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Maybe like right now, going down some unknown freeway in Europe to explore France or something. Maybe it's immersing myself in the ambient sound of the city and City Skylines 2, watching people get on and off the subway. Or expanding a few supply chains in Anno 1800. Maybe it's gathering mushrooms in Elder Scrolls Online. Or decorating a house. Maybe it's doing some daily commissions in Genshin Impact and just tinkering around to do another quest that I haven't done before. But the truth is, with all of those games, even if I never played them again in my life, I've gotten my content out of them. They've enriched my life. And there is no content roadmap that I need to get through in order to be able to say I've had a good experience with them. Nor is there anything else that I particularly need to do that I haven't done. And I think that's an important place to reach in life, to get to a point where you can say, you know what, I've lived my life, I've had a good life. So it is what it is. Maybe I'm going to live for many years. But you know what the truth is? The truth is time goes by really fast. And you start off the year, and before you know it, it's the middle of the year. And you look at your life and you realize we don't have all that much time. It's unlikely that we even have 100 years to experience. Change will find us. And so there really isn't time in life to have a sense that you need to get more things done in order for your life to be complete. There's not all that much time even if we have a full life. But there's also the possibility that for any of us, life gets cut short later on this afternoon. So the question is, are you living your life in a way that would make it possible for you to say, you know, if you called it quits right now, and that was the end, you were doing things that contributed value to the world in some way and gave you peace during your journey. That's the key to enjoying life, to make every day complete. instead of making every day feel like it's one tiny step toward hopefully reaching an unattainable goal. And as we think about all those opportunities to flex on other players or compete our way to success or make the playthrough all about ourselves, it really in the end is all about the connections. And it doesn't mean that you have to play multiplayer games. It's not about that. It's just there's something amazing about connecting with other people who understand that underlying premise that we're all just trying to make our way through a playthrough in life. I was looking at a Reddit about Elder Scrolls, and somebody posted a picture of a shrine they had made with a statue in game and some other decorations from in the game to honor their late father, who had been a big fan of Skyrim and played pretty much all the content. And it's amazing how many people there were who had something positive to say, and it resonated with them. Because the truth is, no matter what games we play, whether we play games or not, we're all just adventurers trying to make it through a playthrough. And just like Skyrim, most people don't actually finish the game. Most people don't finish the main story quest even once. And yet, many people have loved the game. Because the truth is, it's not about the destination. It's not about being able to say that you've traveled every road out there. It's about the experience and being able to say that you got value out of the paths you did travel. So no matter where you find yourself, always prioritize the things that add value to your life without adding obligation. Focus on things which make your day complete instead of always trying to follow a treadmill that you think is going to make your life complete, which really never will. And don't be afraid to simplify, because the fear of missing out, the belief that you're going to have a poor experience if you don't consume all of the content out there, that really doesn't produce any good results. It just leads to a situation where you don't actually enjoy any of the content you consume at all. I've thought a lot about how when we used to say we loved games so much when we were kids, then we say, well, we don't love them as much as adults because we don't have the imagination that we used to have or something like that. But I don't believe that's true at all. I think what it is simply that when we were kids, we didn't have a lot of games to play, you know? You would pick a title that you liked a lot, and usually getting that game would involve begging your parents for the opportunity to get that game for a very long time. Then eventually you get it, and you're so excited, and you go home and you play the heck out of it. Every free minute you have, you're trying to get over there to get on the computer to play some more of that game. And then you get stuck and you don't know what to do next in a quest, and you stare at the screen because back then there wasn't a YouTube video walkthrough for every single thing. And you get to know every single inch of the map because you're constantly playing that game, because it's the only one you have. And after a while, you start to feel like it's a real place, and it starts to have that nostalgia hit. Then as an adult, you try to play games. Well, suddenly, fast forward a few years, and we have tons of choice. We have tons of options. and we are in a hurry to get through the content, and we're distracted by a bunch of things. And even spending half an hour doing one thing feels like too much, because we're fighting that urge to pull out our phone and go scroll through Reddit or Google News or Facebook or something to see what the most recent thing is. You see, it's not that we lack imagination, it's that we lack the willingness to commit to one thing fully instead of a lot of things a little bit. We are plagued by short attention span instead of finding ourselves able to just immerse in something without any expectation. You know, the same people who struggle to enjoy a computer game probably would struggle to enjoy going for a long walk in the wilderness. I was sitting there at a viewpoint with my boss. We pulled off the road and sat there looking out over this valley, its picturesque view, and he said, you know, I can't enjoy this. It was his idea to go up there to take a look out over the valley, but he's like, I can't enjoy this. Because all I can do is think about other things. All I can do is think about work and think about other stuff I should be doing or could be doing, or think about wanting to check my work email or something. I can't just sit there and enjoy the scenery. But the crazy thing is, when you think about it, what do all of these games that we really fall in love with have in common, like Skyrim or something like that? It's that passive clearing your mind and allowing yourself to be transported to a different place without any expectation. It's about letting go of the things of the world. And to go full circle and close this up on a philosophical note, what's really crazy is that this is actually more of a religious and spiritual undertone than it is something secular. Because it all goes back to this idea that was said in the Bible, that you cannot serve the things of the world and the things of heaven. That you have to let go of all of those earthly attachments if you're going to experience the kingdom of God. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say that gaming is a religious experience. I would hope it's not. But I do think that it touches on a foundational spiritual message. That imagination and freedom of thought, being unencumbered by the chasing of material things, being willing to enjoy life, not for the destination, but for the viewpoints along the way. That's a big part of spiritual wholeness. You're never going to find a Buddhist monk or a Catholic priest or something like that who is super into material things. How big their house is, how big their car is, what their badge says. But does that mean that they don't enjoy life? No, I wouldn't say so. Because they probably do enjoy seeing flowers blooming in a garden or something like that. They enjoy admiring the handiwork of God. They enjoy looking up at the heavens at night. They enjoy the blessings of life. Good company, good food, right? And that's really kind of what gaming, I think, the best part of gaming is all about. It's not about the competitive matches. It's not about playing every single title that comes out. It's about finding a place where you can let go of the material things of the world so that you can reflect on things within. As always, good luck on your playthrough in game and in life, and thank you so much for watching.